Hello everyone. You are watching Learn PCM. We are going through a series of sessions for the chapter Force and Newton's Laws of Motion, which is class 9th chapter. And this is session number 5, and the series is second. Okay. So till now, what we have learned, we have gone through the Newton's laws of motions. First law of motion, Newton's first law of motion, in which you have already studied the definition of force. Actually, Newton's first law of motion gives us the definition of force, which describes, or you can say that according to it, force is something which changes or tends to change the state of rest or of uniform motion of a body, right? Or you can also say that force is something which brings change in the velocity of a body when applied from outside, from external sources. Or you can say that force is an influence which can produce acceleration or retardation in a body. Okay. You also have come to know that force is a vector quantity. It has magnitude as well as it has some direction. Okay. What we can say that force is a vector quantity. Okay, it is a vector quantity. Why it is a vector quantity? Because it has uh, the direction as well as the magnitude. Okay, there are two parts of it, direction and magnitude. So this all we have already discussed, and there is nothing to describe or explain over here about it. The second thing is that which we have learned in our previous videos is about law of inertia. We have seen that every body has, every object is in its state, every object opposes the change in its state. Okay, so it could be change in the state of rest or change in the state of motion. So it opposes, and that tendency of opposing is known as inertia. Okay, so we have seen the inertia of rest, we have seen inertia of motion, where we have gone through the inertia of direction as well. So these are the things which we have already gone through. These are the things, these are the topics which we have already understood. Now, before proceeding to the next law of Newton, so Newton's second law of motion, uh, we are going to know a term, we are going to understand momentum first. There is a word momentum which should be clear to you before we move to the next law of motion. Okay, momentum. Let us try to understand this word first, or this topic first. Okay, so keep on watching, stay tuned so that we can discuss about this, right? uh, so let's have two of the cases. Okay, let's see two of the cases, and with the help of those two cases we'll try to understand momentum. Okay, so I'm providing two conditions or two cases. The very first one is that, say you are having, let me have a case one over here. Okay, so in first condition, or you can say that this is a question to you. Okay, now in this, what is that you are provided with two of the balls. Okay, you are provided with two of the balls. There are two balls which are there, and one ball is a cricket ball and the other ball is, suppose, a tennis ball. Okay, now this, say this is your cricket ball. Okay, this is your cricket ball. Okay, and this is your tennis ball. Now if both the balls are tennis ball, okay, they are having now if both of the balls are thrown, okay, with the same velocity, these two balls are thrown with the same velocity. Okay, both of them, right? These both are thrown with the same velocity. Okay, thrown with the same velocity. The question is that in which of these two cases, see this is case one, or you can say this is question one, that in these two of the cases, because both of the balls are thrown with the same velocity, now in which case you require more force to stop the ball? in this case or in this case. Say this is, suppose case, this is first part A1 and this is B. Now in which of the cases, A or B, in which of these two you will require more force to stop the ball? This is the first question. Okay, rather than writing case 1, I should write here first question, or just consider it as case 1, no problem. Then case 2, let me move to this case 2. Okay, in this case what we are going to do, we are going to have again two balls. Okay, we are going to have two balls. Now in this case we are going to take both the balls of cricket one, that is we are going to take two cricket balls of, the condition is that they are of the same masses. Okay, say if this is having mass m, then this is also having mass m. Okay, both of the balls in this case is in both the balls are having the same masses. Okay, but they are thrown with different velocities. In the second case, what is happening, that they are thrown with different velocities. So let me write over here that thrown with different velocities. Okay, understood. These two balls are of the same masses, but they are thrown with different velocities. Again, the question is what, that in which case, okay, in which case you require more force to stop the ball. Understood? Understood both the differences between these two questions. In the first case, what we have taken two of the balls. Okay, one ball is a cricket ball, the other one is a tennis ball. Okay, now both the balls are thrown with the same velocity. In the first case, both the balls are thrown with the same velocity, and the question is that in which of the cases, in which of the ball case you require more force, or you require large force to stop the ball. Okay, and in the second case, what is there, in the second case two balls again are provided to you, but they are having the same masses. Here the masses are different. Okay, I will ask you which one is having the bigger or the smaller mass. But here you see you are given with two of the balls with the same masses, mass m and mass m. Both are having the same masses, but they are thrown with a different velocities. Now, in which case, in which of these two balls you are going to, you are requiring more force to stop the ball? So let us now discuss about it. Okay, let's discuss. In the first case, case 1. Okay, let's see for the first case. In case 1, you are provided with what? You are provided with one of the ball as cricket ball. This is your cricket ball, right? Okay, and the second one was your simple tennis ball. Okay, since we know that cricket ball is, just think about these two, you require in which case the higher force, definitely you will say for the cricket ball, right? Here you require more force, large force is required here, right? Large force. Could you think about it, why is it requiring larger force than this one? It is not, this one is not requiring large force, small, you can say less force is required, small, or you, let me write less force is required here. Now what could be the reason behind this one, this cricket ball to cricket ball that requires large force? Definitely the reason is its mass, isn't it? What is the reason behind it? The reason is, I'm sorry, the reason is what? Cricket ball has the mass of, you can say that mass of cricket ball is greater. Okay, it is greater than mass of tennis ball. Okay, what it shows, that mass of cricket ball is greater than mass of tennis ball. It means that force required to stop the greater mass is required more. Okay, is more. Okay, it means what, that force in this case is directly proportional to mass. Force is directly proportional to mass. Understood? Understood what is the meaning here? Force is direct. This is the symbol of direct proportionality. We use this symbol for direct proportionality. Now, what is the meaning of direct proportionality? When we call direct proportionality, when we talk about direct proportional things, in such cases, this is symbol, okay? In such cases, what happens that if there is increase in one of the case, then there will be increase in the other case, okay? You can see that proportionality always gives the dependency, okay? It always shows the relation between the two of the quantities. Here, if the mass is increased, it in that case force is also force is also increased. If mass is going to be less, force required will be less. So we can say that force is directly proportional to mass according to this situation, because here in this case cricket ball is having larger, or cricket ball is having more mass than this tennis ball, and that is why here you require large force or more force to stop the ball. Okay, both of the balls were just thrown with the same velocity, but still you needed more force to stop this ball. Okay, so here we can say from this situation or from this case, you can conclude that force is directly proportional to mass. Okay, understood. Now let us move to another part. Now we are going to discuss about the case 2, right? What is there in case 2? In case 2, we are again provided with two of the balls, okay? We are provided with two of the balls, okay, of the same masses. This is also having mass m, this is also having mass m, but these two are thrown with different velocities. Say you are having velocity 1 here, and this is having the velocity 2. Okay, so if velocity 1 is greater than velocity 2, definitely you require more force in case of velocity 1. That means force required to stop force required to stop the ball. Both the balls are having the same masses, right? Both are cricket balls and both are having the same masses. So the force required to stop the ball with velocity v1, okay, with velocity v1 requires more force. It requires more force. Understood? Do you get my point? Why I'm saying that v1 in case of velocity 1 you require more force? Because we have considered here as considered here that v1 is greater than v2. Velocity 1 is greater than velocity 2. Say this is A, case A, and this is B. Say this is ball A and this is ball B. Both are having the same masses, but both are having different velocities. In case of A, velocity is v1. In case of B, velocity is v2, and the velocity v1 is greater than velocity v2. In such case, what will happen in such case? Force required to stop the ball A is larger than the case B. Understood? Now what does it show? What can you conclude about it? What is the reason behind it? What is the conclusion? Conclusion is that reason is that velocity 1 is greater than velocity 2. This is your reason. Your reason is what? Reason is this only. Okay? It is because of the velocity. Larger velocity requires large force. So the conclusion is what? Conclusion is that you can conclude here that, let me write conclusion. You conclude here what? That force is directly proportional to velocity. Force is directly proportional to velocity as well. Understood? What if finally we can conclude that force is, there are two of the parts in this with the help of these two cases we have considered here. There are two parts, that force is directly proportional to mass of the object, and also force is directly proportional to velocity of the object. Okay, do you understand this? that the force required to stop a moving body is always, or you can say is directly proportional to mass and the velocity of the object or the body. Understood? So what now we can find out here what it gives actually. This property of force, that this property of force that it require, you can say that it is, since it is proportional to mass and velocity of a body, it gives us a term known as momentum. This property, you can say, or this due to this condition, it gives us another term. Sorry, just a minute. Yeah, it gives us another term, and that term is what? Momentum. Now, what does this momentum imply to us? We are moving towards momentum. Now, what does it mean? See, this another term which is known as momentum, it means what? That momentum actually is defined as the product of mass and velocity. Okay, since here you can see force is what? Force is directly proportional to mass and velocity. So somewhere the body is having the motion. You can see that every body, okay, it is having a quantity of motion in it. Okay, or you can say that the quantity of motion in a body, it actually depends on two of the things. So we can say that sorry, the quantity of motion in a body, okay, the quantity of motion in a body actually depends on two of the factors. Body depends on two factors, right? Depends on two factors. Okay, and these two factors are, let me write here only, little bit space is there, the mass, and B is your velocity. Okay, what we can say with the help of this conclusion, that force is directly proportional to velocity and force is directly proportional to mass, we can say that the quantity of motion, okay, this is important to understand, that the quantity of motion which is there in a body, it depends actually on two factors, that is the mass of the body and the velocity of the body. And that is why we can say that momentum, this quantity of motion is known as momentum, and that is why we can say that momentum of body can be equal to mass into velocity, or you can say that the product of mass and velocity. Okay, uh, let us move to another page. Yeah, so we are having here momentum as what? Momentum is equal to mass into velocity. Okay, so what we have seen here, we have seen that force actually is directly proportional to it is directly proportional to mass, as well as it is directly proportional to velocity of a body, and that is why we can say that the quantity of motion in a body depends on two factors, that is mass and the velocity. Now this is giving you the word momentum. Due to this conclusion, we come to another term which is known as momentum, and this momentum thus can be defined as the quantity of motion in a body that depends on two factors, mass and velocity, which gives momentum as the product of mass and velocity. Okay, so we can write this moment in short or in symbol method. We can write here, instead of momentum we can use a letter P. Okay, the small letter P is used as a symbol for momentum. For mass we can use M, and for velocity we can use V. So this is our P is equal to mv. is actually the formula of momentum. Okay, so this is you can here you can mention that P is what, where, let me write here, where P is momentum of the body. Okay, then M is mass of the body, uh, and V is your velocity of the body. Okay, so now it is clear that if a body is at rest, it means its momentum will be what? If suppose you are having a body, if a body is say as at rest, if a body is at rest, so if a body is at rest, it means its velocity will be what? Zero. It implies that velocity is zero, and if velocity is zero, it means what will be the momentum? Momentum will be m into zero. That means zero. So momentum will be what? It will become zero. Okay, so we can say that the velocity we can say that if a body is at rest, then the momentum is also zero. So for such cases, for this type of case, when body if a body is at rest, you can say that momentum is zero. Okay, also one more thing is that to note down is what, that momentum is a vector quantity. Okay, it is a vector quantity. Can you give the reason why it is a vector quantity? Because a vector quantity requires what? It requires magnitude, right? Vector quantity, any vector physical quantities, if are vector quantity, in that case they are said to be vector quantity only in the case they are having magnitude as well as direction. So in case of momentum, how will you say that it is having magnitude as well as direction? We know that momentum is product of mass and velocity, where velocity is what? Again, velocity is a vector quantity. Okay, velocity is what? It is a vector quantity. And why it is a vector quantity? Because not only the magnitude, but also there is a direction, and that is why we call this as velocity. Otherwise it will become speed. If there is no direction, then it will become speed. Or if there is magnitude, if there is direction and no magnitude, then again we can say it as, we can use the word speed instead of velocity. When we are using the word velocity, it does mean that magnitude as well as direction is involved in such cases, in the word velocity. When we are talking about velocity, it means magnitude as well as direction is involved in it. It is included in it, and that is why we call it as a vector quantity. And that is why if velocity is vector quantity, we can say that momentum also becomes a vector quantity, because velocity gives you the direction, so a momentum acts in the direction of velocity. Okay, second thing is that let us see the this one, this it's a unit. Okay, so we are going to find out the unit. Okay, what is the unit of momentum? Okay, unit of momentum. See, momentum is given by what? It gives you what? It is small p is equal to mv. What is the unit of m? Unit of m, that means mass. Mv is what? Mass into velocity. So mass, the unit of mass is what? Kg, correct? And unit of velocity is what? Meter per second, isn't it? Velocity, unit of velocity is meter per second, right? So what will be the unit for momentum? So the unit of momentum is what? Kg meter per second. This becomes the unit of momentum. Do you get my point? How we have come to this conclusion that it is kg meter per second? Just go for, writing its separate units of two factors on which this momentum depends. Say it is m into v. Simply you put the value of unit. Okay, put the unit which is governed by this quantity. Say mass is there, so mass, the unit of mass is kg, and this is velocity, the unit of velocity is meter per second. We can simply multiply and you are going to get kg meter per second, and this is how we used to find out the units in case of physics. Understood? Now next is what here we have come to know that if a body is at rest, here we have in the upper section I have already shown you that if a body is at rest, definitely its momentum is zero. Here we have seen this, okay na, that if the body is at rest, its momentum is zero. But now if the body is in motion, what will be the momentum? Definitely a body if is in motion, definitely it is going to have momentum. So what we can say, that if a body is moving, if this is second part, if a body is moving or any body which is in motion, it does possesses a momentum. Okay, so if a body is in motion, it possesses momentum. So every moving body has momentum. Okay, every moving body has, in other words, we can say that every moving body has what? Momentum. Okay, are you getting my point? Every moving body has momentum. Now, since momentum depends on mass and velocity of a body, so what exactly happens with this momentum of body? See, if mass is large, as we can see that momentum, it depends on which two factors? It depends on mass, okay, and velocity, isn't it? These are the two factors on which momentum depends. Momentum of a moving body. In fact, you can talk about rest body also. So it depends. Now it depends on these two factors. So if mass is increased, suppose mass is larger or higher, it means your momentum will be what? Definitely you will have a large momentum. Similarly, if your velocity is higher, if you have higher velocity, in that case again you will have larger momentum. So we can see that if the mass is large, if the mass is large, there will be large momentum. If the velocity is large, again there will be large momentum. And if both mass and velocity, both are large, in such case you will have larger momentum. Understood? So now we are going to understand this momentum in with the help of some daily life, you can say daily life examples. Okay, let's try to understand with the help of examples what actually it creates and what actually uh, it I mean it gives it creates the situation. Okay, here let me move it a little up. Yeah. So in case of examples, let me write some examples. So for the first case, you can see a karate. You must have seen a karate player. Okay. Let us consider one of the scene here, a karate player. Okay. A karate player can break a pile of, okay, tiles, or maybe you can say slabs. Okay. Say slabs of ice. with a single blow, with a single blow or single stroke. Okay, single blow of his hand, single blow of his hand. How does it happen? How does it happen that a karate player can break a pile of tiles? You must have seen, अगर pile of tiles रहती हैं, जैसे अगर tiles हैं और ये एक के ऊपर एक रखी होती हैं, तो how does it possible कि the karate player he comes and just he uses his hands to break the pile? अगर हमें तोड़ना हुआ तो we won't be able to break it. But how that karate person, that person, he comes and what he does, he just uses his hand and just with the help of his hand, he breaks them all. It goes, these bricks, they are broken by this person with one hit of his hand. How does it possible? कैसे हो जाता है ये चीज? ये ये ब्रिक्स जो है ये टूट जा रहा है अगर एक पर्सन यहाँ कराटे प्लेयर व्हेन ही इज कमिंग एंड ही इज जस्ट अप्लाइंग हिज hand stroke on this, the piles of tiles, okay, it gets break, okay, it get broken. How it happens? Pile of tiles, क्यों होता है ऐसा? It is because the reason is what? I mean, you have to question it. Why it happens so? How does it happen that he is able to break this pile of tile in a one hand stroke? So how does it happen? It happens because the karate player, he's actually what happens that he hits the that this pile, okay, this I mean this pile of tiles. He hits it with a very fast. You can say he uses his hand, and the velocity which is applied by him is quite large. Okay, he is using very fast hand. He is coming and simply his hand gains a very high velocity, and that velocity when is applied over here, what happens, that we know that momentum is equal to mass into velocity. As I told you that if velocity is increased, definitely momentum is going to increase. What happens that when this person he applies his hand and he uses very fast hand, okay, hand stroke, what happens that he hits the piles with very fast, okay, and in doing so what happens that a large momentum of the fast moving hand, because of that large momentum, because it creates large momentum. Why it is creating large momentum? Because of the velocity, because of the larger velocity. He has created large velocity in moving faster his hand, है ना? जब वो अपने हाथ को बहुत तेजी से उठाता है मारने के लिए, तो his hand gains a larger velocity, and as he brings it to the pile, what happens that it is reduced to zero suddenly, okay, in very short time. It is reduced, that velocity is that larger momentum is created due to reduced time, okay, in very short span of time it is reduced to zero, and it exerts a large pressure, or you can say large force on the pile, which breaks the pile apart into two pieces, into two you can say two divisions are created. ठीक है? क्या होता है? In doing so, large momentum of the fast moving hand is reduced to zero. ठीक है? In a very short span of time, when he uses his velocity of hand, ये बहुत तेजी से अपने हाथ को एक वेलोसिटी गेन कराकर, और जब वो नीचे लाता है कराटे प्लेयर, तो व्हाट हैपेंस कि मोमेंटम जो है वो एकदम से जीरो हो जाता है, एंड देन व्हाट हैपेंस कि his force is large at that time. He applies larger force on the pile, and the pile on the pile of tiles, and then what happens that it gets broken apart into two pieces, in two parts. Okay, similarly you must have seen that a cricket ball is uh, See, if you take another example, if you go for another example, just a minute. Let me write the second example over here. We are going to consider another example. Okay, suppose you have not understood. In that case, let me explain it to you with another example. Say, if you take, you must have seen that many a times, cricket ball when it's thrown, okay, with a high speed, it could hurt a batsman. Have you seen the batsmen? They go back or they try to leave the this ball many times, all because they feel that it is going to hurt them. Why is it so? Why that cricket ball is not that much heavy, but still, due to its high speed, it is able to hurt someone? Why is that so? It is because when cricket ball is thrown with high velocity, suppose this ball is there, and if it is thrown with high velocity, though its mass could be less, okay, इसका mass कम हो सकता है, लेकिन जब इसको हम high velocity के साथ throw करते हैं, when it is thrown with a high velocity, what happens? It gains larger momentum. Okay, it gains large momentum. Due to what? Due to high velocity. Velocity is high. When velocity is high, this also becomes large momentum. Okay, when velocity is high, momentum is large. Okay, momentum is increased. Understood? And due to that large momentum, it when it comes to the batsman, he or he feels he understands that, oh, large momentum of force is going to be higher in such case. As soon as it is going to reach to the person, he just moves away and try to bring the you can say that he tries to make the ball to be slower, and then he catches the ball. जैसे अगर एक प्लेयर है, अगर वो डायरेक्टली इसको पकड़ता है, if he comes and he catches this ball directly, he may get hurt. उसको चोट लग सकती है, क्रिकेट प्लेयर को चोट लग सकती है, all because of the higher velocity. It attains larger momentum, and as soon as it reaches to the hand of the player directly, definitely he is going to suffer injury. But what this person does in that case, how he is going to catch then this ball? He cannot leave the ball because he is there to catch the ball. Fielder is there to catch the ball. Every time if he is going to leave the ball, definitely he is going to lose the match. So how he is going to catch the ball? He, in that case, what he is doing, when he is taking his hand out, simply he takes his hand a little back. He himself pushes himself back, and he takes the ball in a slow. When he feels that the ball which is coming out or reaches to him is now has lost its speed. You can say that when its speed or its velocity decreases, then he takes, or after reaching this point, if the velocity of the ball is decreased, then he takes out his hand and catches the ball. ठीक है? क्या होता है कि पहले फर्स्ट इंस्टेंस में जब बॉल आता है नज़दीक, क्रिकेट जो प्लेयर है उसके पास जब नज़दीक में बॉल आता है, तो अगर वो डायरेक्टली हैंड से कैच करता है, तो उस हाई स्पीड की वजह से हाई मोमेंटम की जनरेट होता है, और हाई मोमेंटम की वजह से जो क्रिकेट प्लेयर है उसे चोट लग सकती है। और उसे चोट ना लगे तो उसके लिए वो क्या करता है कि वो अपने हैंड को पीछे की तरफ खींचता है और फिर कैच करता है, नीचे झुकाता है या पीछे की तरफ खींचता है अपने हाथों को, ताकि जब तक वो अपने हाथ पीछे करता है, जो वेलोसिटी बॉल की होती है वो डिक्रीज कर चुकी होती है, और जिसकी वजह से फिर लार्ज जो मोमेंटम जो उसके साथ जुड़ा होता है, वो क्या होता है, उसका स्पैन, वो टाइम बढ़ जाता है, और फिर वो टाइम जब बढ़ जाता है तो वो वेलोसिटी डिक्रीज होने की वजह से उसके ऊपर जो फोर्स लगना होता है वो रिड्यूस हो जाता है। और क्योंकि मोमेंटम डिक्रीज करता है और फोर्स रिड्यूस होता है, तो बैट्समैन उसको बहुत ही आराम से, बैट्समैन ही फील्डर्स उसे बहुत ही आराम से कैच कर पाते हैं। So I hope you have understood here what I'm trying to say. The next thing is, let us take one more example. third example. Let me give you another example. ठीक है. Say if a car is there or a bus is there which is running at a maybe it's not running at a high speed. Okay, अभी कार है और या बस है, जब वो रन कर रही है, सिंपली इट्स रनिंग ऑन इट्स ओन स्पीड. ओके, विद इट्स ओन पेस. अगर बहुत ज़्यादा फास्ट नहीं है, बहुत ज़्यादा स्पीड में नहीं है, बट स्टिल आपने देखा होगा कि अगर वो धीरे भी चलती है, स्टिल इट कैन हर्ट. अगर कोई उसके सामने गाड़ी के सामने आता है या अगल बगल से जाता है, तो इट कैन हर्ट दैट पर्सन. ओके, व्हाई इज इट सो? if the speed is less, still the if the speed is less, in this case speed is less, in suppose case of say you are considering a car. Okay, in case of a moving car. Okay, बट स्टिल अभी यहाँ पे हमने स्पीड वेलोसिटी यहाँ पे हमने क्या कर दिया, लेस कर दिया. बट इन दिस केस still the person which is coming in front of the car or which is just moving by the side of the car, suppose he gets hurt. Okay, he is hurted, suppose. Okay, a person could be hurted by that. A person could be hurt by it. Okay, so why is it so? क्यों ऐसा होता है? इस केस में ऐसा क्यों है? क्योंकि स्पीड तो हमने लेस कर दी, बट स्टिल इस पर्सन को चोट लग सकती है. ही कैन गेट हर्ट. बट व्हाई इज दैट सो? ऑल बिकॉज ऑफ द हायर मास ऑफ दिस body. We know that this car is having larger mass. In this case, you can see that the mass is larger mass. Though velocity is less, but mass is larger. Velocity is less. ठीक है, लेकिन मास क्या है? इस केस में मास बढ़ा हुआ है. जब मास बढ़ा है, वेलोसिटी लेस है, स्टिल इट इज गोइंग टू क्रिएट व्हाट? लार्जर मोमेंटम. Isn't it? Larger momentum, because we know that momentum depends on two factors. One is the speed and the other one is mass. So when we are talking about speed or when we are talking about velocity, if it is less, in that case the mass, if the mass is higher, in that case definitely there will be larger momentum, and due to that large momentum, the person could get hurt because of this car. Okay. Similarly, if we take the opposite part of this, let's try to understand the opposite of this. Here. So we'll try to understand this, just the opposite part of this. I'm going to consider it as a next example. What we are going to do, simply suppose there are vehicles which are running with higher speeds. Okay, say you are having vehicles which are running with higher speeds. Vehicles are running with higher speeds. Are they going to hurt you? Are they going to hurt you? Definitely yes. Yes, of course. Why so? Because in this case, we have considered what? We have considered the velocity, increased velocity. Yes, due to increased velocity, or you can say due to higher velocity, due to high velocities, moving vehicles create accidents. I mean, not only accidents, they create tragic or you can say very severe, worse accidents. Okay, because of the momentum of the vehicles running at high speeds. Okay, so you have to keep these factors, that because of the velocity and because of the mass, momentum is going to change. If the mass is higher, definitely momentum could be higher. If the velocity is higher, again the momentum could be higher. If the velocity is less and mass is higher, still you will gain higher momentum. So definitely you are going to consider both of the factors, and you have to keep it in your mind that motion, the quantity of motion is governed by these two factors always. So every moving body has momentum in it, and depending upon the mass and the velocity, we can define its momentum, whether it is larger, it is creating larger momentum, or um, smaller momentum. Okay, so what we can conclude in last, that the combined effect of mass and velocity of a body is taken into account by a physical quantity, and that is known as momentum. What we can conclude in the last, that let us conclude. Finally, what we can conclude, that the combined effect, okay, the combined effect of mass and velocity of a body is taken into account by a physical quantity that is known as, or which is the physical quantity called momentum. Okay, what do we say that? We call it as momentum. Okay, so momentum is considered to be what? Measure of the quantity of motion of a moving body. So finally we can say that momentum is measure of the quantity of a moving body. Okay, so with this, I hope you have understood the topic of momentum. Let's have a relook from the beginning, what we have learned today. Okay, from the very beginning, as I have told you that we are going through the session of momentum. We are going through the topic of momentum, and before this topic we have already studied about Newton's first law of motion, where we have come to know about the definition of force. We have also understood about inertia, and we have seen that we have considered two of the cases here, that the two cases which we have considered here was about this uh, two balls. When we have taken two balls, one was cricket ball and one was the tennis ball, we have seen that when the velocity was same, we required more force to stop the cricket ball. Why it was so? Because of its higher mass. And similarly, when we have gone through this the two balls of same masses, there we have seen when they were thrown with different velocity, in such case again we required larger force to stop the cricket ball, which was having higher mass. Okay, sorry, which was having higher velocity. So we concluded that actually force is directly proportional to mass, as well as it is also directly proportional to velocity. Okay, what we have understood about it, that force is directly proportional. You can see here force is directly proportional to mass, as well as it is directly proportional to velocity. All because of these two cases we have come to this conclusion. Then what? Then we have studied here, you can see. mm, yeah. Uh-huh. So what we have concluded out of it, that momentum actually is the quantity of motion of a body, all because of this property of force, that it is directly proportional to mass as well as it is directly proportional to velocity. We concluded that actually the quantity of motion in a body depends on two of the factors, mass and velocity. Okay, all because of these two, this condition of force. Huh. All because of this condition of force. See here, all because of this you can see here that we have taken two of the parts here, that force is directly proportional to mass and force is also directly proportional to velocity. We have concluded that force actually depends upon mass and velocity both, and we come to conclusion that actually the quantity of motion of a body depends on two factors, that is mass and velocity. And due to this, we came to word we came to we just came to know about the word momentum. So what actually momentum gives? Momentum is the quantity of that motion which depends on two factors, mass and velocity. So we ultimately got the formula of momentum. What it gave, that momentum is equal to mass into velocity, that is p equals to m into v, where p is what, where p is small p. Okay, where small p gives you the symbol of momentum, m is for mass of the body and v is the velocity of the body. And also we came to know that when the body is at rest, what we saw that when the body is at rest, the velocity becomes zero, and in such cases the momentum of the body is also zero. Also we have understood that velocity of the momentum of a body is a vector quantity, because mass, it is quantity of motion which depends on two factors, mass and velocity. So here velocity always governs a direction. It has some direction, it shows a magnitude as well as direction, and that is why we can say that momentum also is a vector quantity, because it involves a factor, because it depends upon the factor of velocity as well. And now unit of factor is what? Unit of unit of momentum is what? It is p, which is equal to m into v. That is the formula, and with the help of this formula you can get, or you can derive the unit of this momentum. It is what? The mass of the unit of mass is kg, and the unit of velocity is meter per second. That is why the unit of momentum is kg meter per second. Okay, then what? Then we have seen that the body which is at rest has no momentum, but the body which is in motion definitely governs momentum. It has momentum. Okay, a body which is in motion, or you can say that a moving body always possesses some momentum. Okay, then we can also we have also seen that since momentum is measure of or you can say, since momentum is it depends upon two factors, mass and velocity. So when mass is increased, we require more momentum. It increases, it gives more momentum. And if the velocity is increased, again it states that momentum of the body is going to increase because of increased velocity. It means that these two factors are these two factors actually gives the, or states the condition of the momentum possessed by a body. Okay, so we have seen the examples as well. Now we have seen the examples as well. According to this, you can see there are some examples which we have seen. ठीक है, हमने एग्जाम्पल कराटे प्लेयर का एग्जाम्पल देखा, वो कैसे किस तरह से पाइल ऑफ जो टाइल्स हैं उनको कैसे, या फिर वो ब्रिक्स को भी, अगर हम ब्रिक्स का एक के ऊपर एक पाइल बनाते हैं और फिर वो आराम से आके अपने हैंड से उसको तोड़ते हैं, ऑल बिकॉज कि उस समय में जो हैंड वो यूज़ करते हैं वो बहुत ही फास्ट स्पीड के साथ यूज़ करते हैं, एंड ड्यू टू दैट उनका जो मोमेंटम अचानक से सडनली इट कम्स टू विद इन स्पैन ऑफ टाइम, बहुत ही शॉर्ट स्पैन ऑफ टाइम में उस मोमेंटम को वो जीरो पे लाते हैं, जिसकी वजह से हायर फोर्स लगता है और उनका जो ब्रेक का जो पाइल होता है वो टूट जाता है, ब्रेक कर जाता है. ओके, सिमिलरली इन केस ऑफ दिस बॉल, थ्रोइंग ऑफ अ बॉल, अगर क्रिकेट बॉल थ्रो होती है, जब प्लेयर बैट्समैन जब थ्रो करता है, क्रिकेट बॉल बैट से थ्रो करता है, तो व्हाट हैपेंस दैट कि इट कम्स विथ it is thrown by the bat with a very high speed. When it is thrown by it is thrown with a higher speed, क्या होता है कि it gains larger momentum, and when it gains larger momentum it can hurt the fielder who is standing outside over there, and then to reduce that, to avoid that hurt, what that person does, he takes his hand a little back so that the velocity could be reduced and further the momentum can be reduced, and then he is able to save himself by the large momentum of the ball. ठीक है. Similarly we have seen that अगर कार है, अगर मोशन में है और काफ़ी लेस स्पीड पर है, यहाँ तो हमने बॉल के केस में तो हमने देखा कि हाई स्पीड में उसको भेजा गया तो बॉल हर्ट कर सकती है, लेकिन अगर लेस स्पीड भी हो रही है, अगर एक मूविंग कार है और उसकी स्पीड बहुत लेस है, इफ इट्स हैविंग अ वेरी लेस स्पीड बट स्टिल इट इज एबल टू हर्ट समवन, स्टिल वो किसी को भी चोट पहुंचा सकती है जो उसके रास्ते में आए. क्यों ऐसा होता है? ऑल बिकॉज की कार इज हैविंग हायर मास, उसका एक मास लार्ज है. जब लार्जर मास है तो अगेन momentum is going to be gained by that car, that body, that object. Okay, so it is going to hurt someone. ठीक है. तो ये हमारे कुछ एग्जाम्पल्स हैं जो कि हम अपने आसपास देखते रहते हैं. एक्सीडेंटल केसेस बहुत सारे होते हैं. हम देखते हैं कि स्पीड में जब स्पीडी व्हीकल्स होती हैं, दे क्रिएट मोर वर्स्ट एक्सीडेंट्स. ठीक है. ऐसा क्यों होता है? बिकॉज ड्यू टू फास्टर velocity or due to larger velocity, the momentum is higher, and when momentum is high, definitely it is going to create larger force on the body, and it can create severe accidents. So this was all about momentum which we have studied today, and I hope you have understood this topic very well, and will come up with another video the next time. And I hope I'm going to come up with Newton's second law of motion,